Come here. The postman.
A letter, ma'am.
Kate Shepperton has bought some cake. Whom can she be expecting to tea?
We'll find out. May we leave the curtains open, Susan?
If you wish, Mary.
Resume, Fanny, dear.
The village clock wearily told the hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good. Oh, for the beaver of England. And oh, for
It's that impertinent recruiting, Sergeant. I passed him on the street yesterday. He closed one of his eyes at me, then quickly opened it again. I knew what he meant. Resume, Fanny, dear.
Suddenly, out of the darkness, there emerged a man. The unhappy Camilla was standing lost in reverie when, without pausing to advertise her of his intentions, he took both her hands in his. Slowly he gathered her in his arms and rained hot, burning kisses.
Sister! Miss Susan, I'm indeed surprised you should have brought such an amazing, indelicate tale from the library.
I deeply regret, Miss Willoughby. Oh, Fanny. If you please.
I thank you.
Miss Susan is looking at the end.
Forgive my partiality for romance. It is, I fear, the mark of an old maid.
Oh, Susan, that word.
It's what I am, Mary. And you too, my dear. Unhappy Phoebe will not be an old maid. Please, I beg your pardon.
With your permission, Miss Susan, I shall put on my wraps.
You have it, Mary, dear? Miss Susan, do you mean that Mr. B has proposed to her? Henrietta, I expect it hourly. Oh. Susan, I met a certain individual. Mr. B. Oh, my dear, you're trembling. No, oh, no. You put your hand to your heart. Did I? My love, has he offered? Susan. Not yet. But I'm sitting with an unhappy woman whose husband...
How do you do, Miss Phoebe? Susan, I have no wish to alarm you, but I am of opinion there is a man in the house.
A man?
Tobacco smoke.
The kitchen. I've been just a little afraid of Patty. I hope we may not hurt your feelings. But...
Are you implicating, Mum, that I have a follower?
Oh, no.
So be it.
Harry, there is a man in the house. To the door with him.
And if he refuses?
Oh, dear. If he refuses, send him here to me. Lion-hearted Phoebe. Sergeant, I'm wishful to scold you, but would you be so obliging as to stand on that paper while I do it?
With all the pleasure in life, ma'am.
A shudder goes through me when I see you in the streets enticing those poor young men.
I tell them what they're wishful to hear, ma'am. There have been 5 of them, ma'am, all this week, listening to me and showing me their heels. But by a grand stroke of luck, I have them at last.
Luck?
The luck is, ma'am, that a gentleman of this town is enlisted. That gave them the push forward.
A gentleman of this town is enlisted?
Yes?
Sergeant, who?
That be a secret, ma'am.
Be so obliging.
That I cannot do.
Oh, but you must. You must. Sergeant, I've not been saying the things I meant to say to you. Would you please excuse my turning you out of this house somewhat violently?
Oh, bless your heart, ma'am. I'm used to it.
I won't really hurt you.
Thank you kindly, ma'am.
Begone, sir. I protest, sir, I shall permit no followers in my house. Should I discover you in my kitchen again, I shall pitch you out neck and crop. Begone. Go.
Oh, sweet.
Phoebe, we could not but admire you.
Yes, couldn't you?
Come, Henrietta. Congratulations, Phoebe.
Phoebe, dear, I wish you very happy.
Miss Phoebe, I give you joy. Susan, you've been talking to them about Mr. B.
I couldn't help it.
Oh, Susan.
Phoebe, what is it you have to tell me?
Well, as you know, I was sitting with an unhappy woman whose husband was killed in the war. And as I came out of the cottage, he was passing.
And?
He offered me his escort. At first, he was very silent, as he has often been of late.
We know why.
Please not say that I know why. Suddenly, he stopped and swung his cane. You know how gallantly he swings his cane?
Yes, indeed.
He said, I have something I'm wishful to tell you, Miss Phoebe. Perhaps you can guess what it is. Well, to say I could guess this would have been unladylike. I said, please not to tell me in the public thoroughfare. To which he instantly replied, then I shall call and tell you this afternoon.
Phoebe.
Susan, to think that it has all happened in a single year.
Such a genteel competency as he can offer. A physician. And so dashing.
And Susan, how amusing he is.
Yes, indeed. The day he first drank tea in this house.
He smoked his pipe in this room.
Smoking is indeed a dreadful habit.
But there's something so dashing about it.
Phoebe, I have a wedding gift for you.
Susan, not yet.
It's been ready for a long time. I meant it for myself. It was years ago. I had hoped that he... His name was William. But I'm afraid I was too unattractive, my love.
Sweetest, dearest.
He was a naval officer. But something happened. A Miss Cecily Pemberton. And they're quite big boys now.
Susan, what is it?
A wedding gown, my dear. Even plain women. We can't help it, Phoebe. When we are young, we have romantic ideas just as if we were pretty. Long before it was finished, I knew he would not offer. But I finished it. And then I put it away. But of late, I've taken it out and altered it.
Susan, I couldn't wear it. Oh, how sweet. How beautiful.
You will wear it, my love, won't you?
The roast beef of old England, and oh, the old English roast beef.
Tis he,
That knock.
so dashing.
So imperious.
Susan,
I think he kissed me once.
you think?
I know he did. That evening a week ago when he was squiring me home from the concert, it was raining and my face was wet. He said that was why he did it. Because your face was wet doesn't seem a sufficient excuse now.
Oh, Phoebe, before he'd offered.
Oh, I fear me it was most unladylike.
Dr. Brown.
Miss Susan. How do you do, ma'am? Miss Phoebe, though we've met today already, I insist on shaking hands with you again.
Always so dashing. Will you take tea, sir?
Thank you.
How many lumps, sir? 2?
5, if I may. May I sit on this chair, Miss Phoebe? I know Miss Susan likes me to break her chair.
Indeed, I do not, sir. Phoebe, how strange that he should think so.
The remark was humorous. Was it not?
How you see through me, Miss Phoebe. So you think me dashing, Miss Susan? Am I dashing, Miss Phoebe?
A little, I think.
Well, I have something to tell you today that I think is rather dashing. But you're not going, ma'am, before you know what it is.
Indeed, sir, to be sure. I know what it is, Mr. Brown.
Susan.
I mean, I do not know. I mean, I can guess. Oh, why don't you stroll in the garden?
Shall we?
Yes, indeed. Miss Phoebe.
Yes, Mr. Brown?
To me, you'll always be like this quiet, old-fashioned garden, full of the flowers I love best because I've known them longest. The daisy that stands for innocence, the hyacinth for constancy, the modest violet, and the rose.
It's a pretty speech, sir.
And from my heart. Miss Susan's antics just now were most unexpected. How could she know my secret?
Well...
You mean you'd foreseen it, too?
Sir, you mustn't ask that.
In any case, I think it was you who first put it in my mind.
Oh, I hope not.
Your eyes flashed every time the war was mentioned.
Mr. Brown, what is it that you have to tell us?
That I've enlisted, Miss Phoebe. Did you surmise it was something else?
Going to the war, Mr. Brown? Is it a jest?
It would be a sorry jest, ma'am. I thought you knew. I concluded the recruiting sergeant had talked.
Recruiting sergeant? I see.
In these stirring times, a man can't stay at home. Yesterday, I found there were 5 waverers. I asked them would they join the colors if I did, and they assented. Miss Phoebe, it's not 1 man I give to the king, but 6.
I think you've done bravely, Mr. Brown.
We leave immediately for the Peterborough barracks. So this is goodbye.
I shall pray that you may be preserved in battle, Mr. Brown.
Will you and Miss Susan write to me when occasion offers?
If you wish it.
With all the stirring news of dear Quality-Street?
It seems stirring to us. It must have been merely laughable to you.
I've made friends in it. 2 very sweet ladies.
And did I amuse you also?
Enormously. Those other ladies were always scolding you. Your youthfulness shocked them. I believe they thought you dashing.
I have sometimes feared that I was perhaps too dashing.
Have you? Is it?
Susan?
You seem so calm, Phoebe.
Susan, he is the gentleman who was enlisted, and he came to tell us that and to say goodbye.
Going away?
Yes, dear.
Well, am I not the ideal recruit, ma'am? A man without a wife, a mother, or a sweetheart?
No sweetheart?
Have you one for me, Miss Susan?
Susan, we shall have to tell him now. You will laugh, sir, and say that it is just like Quality-Street. But indeed, since I met you today and you told me that you had something to communicate, we've been puzzling as to what it could be, and we concluded that you were going to be married.
Oh, was that it?
So like women, you know. We thought perhaps we knew her. We were even discussing what we should wear at the wedding.
Well, I wonder who'd have me, Miss Susan. I must leave now. And God bless you both.
You're going?
No more mud on your carpets, Miss Susan. No more breaking your chairs. A good riddance. Miss Phoebe, a last look at the garden. Goodbye.
A misunderstanding. Just a mistake. We can live it down.
Other gentlemen have been attracted by you, Phoebe.
I didn't want them.
They will come again. And others.
No. Never speak of that to me anymore. I let him kiss me.
You could not prevent him.
Yes, I could. I know I could now. I wanted him to do it. Oh, never speak to me of others after that. Perhaps he saw I wanted him to do it and did it to please me. But I meant, indeed I did, that I gave it to him with all my love. Sister, I could bear all the rest. But I've been unladylike. Phoebe. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do. You may be seated.
Phoebe, how much are 14 and 17?
31.
Thank you. How clever you are. Master Douglas, right? Not Douglas Major. Douglas Minor. How much are 14 and 17?
31.
Remains in London. Come, children. Children, you will all return to your desks, if you please. Go on, go. Phoebe, if a herring and a half costs 3 halfpence, how many for 11 pence?
11.
William Smith says it's 15, and he's such a big boy. Do you think I ought to contradict him? May I suggest there are differences of opinion about it? One can't be really sure, Phoebe.
It is 11. I once worked it out with real herrings. Susan, we mustn't let the big boys know that we're afraid of them. To awe them, stamp with a foot, speak in a ferocious voice, and look them unflinchingly in the face.
William Smith, please rise. Phoebe, William Smith put his tongue out at me.
Children, you are dismissed.
Phoebe, Phoebe, it's much too big. Let it pass.
And be a stumbling block in the way of true education. Susan, stand aside.
Effie,
Dr. Brown. It's Dr. Brown.
Captain Brown.
Reports himself at home again.
You call this home?
Miss Susan, I'm delighted to find so little change in you. And Miss Phoebe. Where's Miss Phoebe of the ringlets?
Phoebe of the ringlets? Oh, Captain Brown, you need not expect to see her.
She's not here. That spoils my homecoming.
Phoebe, did you see who it is?
Susan, I've lost all my looks.
A young reprobate, ma'am, but I've deposited him on the street. Miss Phoebe, it's you.
Yes. I've, changed very much. I have not worn well, Captain Brown.
We're both older, Miss Phoebe.
Yes.
I'm dismissing the children. Gentlemen, salute. Ladies, curtsy for the brave Captain Brown.
Terrible ordeal, ma'am. Miss Phoebe, why didn't you say in your letters you had such a young blackguard as that to terrify you?
Well, he is the only one. Most of them are dear children, and this is the last day of the term.
That's fortunate. You look so tired.
Oh, I have a headache today.
I was in hopes you and Miss Susan would be going to the ball. I brought cards for you to make sure. But...
Now you see my dancing days are done.
Oh, no.
You will find many charming partners. I wish you a happy time at the ball.
Well, I'll see you all again soon. The dashing Mr. Brown will drop in as before and have tea with Miss Susan and Miss Phoebe. Miss Phoebe.
Phoebe of the ringlets?
She doesn't...
What a shame it is, Miss Susan.
Yes, it is a shame.
Brave Captain Brown. How much more brave are the ladies who keep a school. Good afternoon, Miss Susan.
Tell me, was Waterloo fun?
Fun, man. Love for Napoleon.
Larson, how witty you are. Law, Captain Brown, how brave you are. He'll be dancing with Charlotte Parrott. Miss Charlotte, you are selfish and silly, but you're a sweet 18. Susan, I hate him. Oh, Susan, I could hate him. My dear. He thought I was old because I'm weary. Alas, Miss Phoebe, all your charm is gone, for you have the headache and your eyes are tired. But he shouldn't have forgotten. I'm only 30. Susan, why does 30 seem so much more than 29?
He would not dance with her. Charlotte Parrott is a silly goose.
'Tis what gentlemen prefer.
If there were a sufficient number of geese to go around, Susan, no woman of sense would ever get a husband.
If to be ladylike...
I'm tired of being ladylike. I want to be bright and thoughtless and merry. I want to be petted and admired. Are these four walls the world, Susan? Or is there anything beyond them? 10 years ago, I went to bed a young girl, and I awoke with this cap on my head. It's not fair.
Phoebe. Phoebe, you've always been so patient.
Oh, no, not always. You don't know how I've rebelled at times. Susan, I have a picture of myself as I used to be. I sometimes look at it. I sometimes kiss it and say, poor girl, they've all forgotten you, but I remember.
I do not recall it.
I keep it locked away in my room. Would you like to see it? I should bring it down to you.
To stand gazing at the foolish creatures who crowd to a ball.
I'm not, Mum. I'm gazing at my sweetheart.
Your sweetheart? I didn't know you had one.
Not have I, Mum, as yet. But at any moment he may turn the corner. I've been waiting for him to oblige these 15 years.
15 years? And you're still hopeful?
There's not a more hopeful woman in all the king's dominions.
You who are so much older than Miss Phoebe.
Yes, Mum. I have the advantage by 10 years.
It would be idle to pretend that you are especially handsome.
Well, that may be, Mum. But my face is my own. The more I see it in the glass, the more it pleases me. I never look at it, but I say to myself, who's to be the lucky man?
'Tis wonderful.
Oh, this will be a great year for females, Mum. Think how many of the men who marched strutting off to the wars have come back limping. Who's to take off their wooden legs of an evening, Miss Susan? You, Mum, or me?
Patty!
Or Miss Phoebe, Mum? The pretty thing that she was, Miss Susan.
Do you remember, Patty?
Am I as changed as he says I am? You almost frighten me. One dance, Susan, Phoebe of the ringlet. Then I shall put her away in her box and never look at her again. Will you celebrate Waterloo, Madam?
Miss Phoebe?
Not Miss Phoebe, Patty. I am not myself tonight. I am, let me see, I am my niece.
Miss Susan, it's Captain Brown. He's at the door.
Patty, wait. Oh!
Captain Brown.
I ventured to come back because I beg your pardon, ma'am. I thought it was Miss Susan and Miss Phoebe.
She's my mistress's niece, sir. She's on a visit here.
Oh, Patty, I obtained this at the apothecary for Miss Phoebe's headache. It should be taken at once.
Miss Phoebe's lying down, sir.
Patty, take it to Aunt Phoebe at once.
Yes, miss.
Perhaps I may venture to introduce myself,
Miss Libby, sir.
I'm Captain Brown, Miss Livy, an old friend of both your aunts.
Oh, I've heard them speak of a dashing Mr. Brown, but I think it cannot be the same.
Why not, ma'am?
I beg your pardon.
I was sure you must be related. For a moment, the likeness...
La, sir, you mean I'm like Aunt Phoebe. Everyone says so, and indeed 'tis no compliment.
It would have been a compliment once. Miss Livy, are you going to the ball?
Alas, sir, I have no card.
I have 2 cards for your aunts. And since Miss Phoebe has a headache, Miss Susan must take you to the ball.
Oh. Do you think, sir, that some handsome gentleman might be partial to me at the ball?
If that's your wish.
I should love, sir, to inspire frenzy in the breast of the male. Oh, I dare not go. I cannot
Miss
go.
Livy. Ah, Miss Susan. I venture to introduce myself to your charming niece.
Aunt Susan, do not be angry with your Livy. Your Livy, Aunt Susan. This gentleman says that he is the dashing Mr. Brown, and that he has cards for us to go to the ball. Of course, we cannot go. We dare not go. Oh, Auntie, hasten into your bombazine. Phoebe! Aunt Phoebe wants me to go. If I say she does, you know she does.
I shall see to it, Miss Susan, that your niece has a charming evening.
He means that he will find me charming partners.
No, ma'am. I mean I'll be your partner.
Aunt Susan, he still dances.
Still, ma'am.
Pray not to scowl. I could not avoid noticing them.
Noticing what, Miss Livy?
The, gray hairs, sir. Come, Aunt Susan.
Think, my dear, think. We dare not.
No, we dare not. We cannot go.
Indeed, ma'am.
It is impossible. Where is my cloak?
You there, sir. There's no cause for alarm. Mary, surely 'tis the gallant Captain Brown.
Oh, how do you do, my dear ladies?
Welcome back, sir.
We're very happy to see you again, sir. And have you seen Miss Phoebe?
I've had the honor. I regret to say Miss Phoebe's lying down now with the headache.
A headache?
More likely heartache.
You don't favor the ball tonight?
We never attend them, sir.
We should probably spend the evening here with Miss Susan at the card table.
Miss Susan's going to the ball with me. Oh, I hope there's no impropriety. Miss Livy will accompany her.
Miss Livy?
Their very charming niece.
Niece? They had not told us that they had a visitor.
We're going to the ball.
So I see. I cannot remember, Susan, that your estimable brother had a daughter. I thought all the three were sons.
3 sons and a daughter. Surely you remember little Livy, Mary?
No, Susan, I do not.
Oh. Well, I must go.
Ah, here's Miss Livy.
This is my niece, Miss Livy, Miss Willowby, Miss Henrietta, and Miss Fanny Willoughby.
3 sons and a daughter. May I ask, Miss Livy, how many brothers you have?
2.
I thank you.
Excluding the unhappy Thomas.
We never mention him.
Ladies, pardon my impatience.
What has Thomas done?
Phoebe, it's young Blades. Oh, my heart. Let us escape at once.
Susan, don't budge.
Miss Susan, once your pupil and now your most obedient, ma'am.
Mr. Blades, I believe.
I hardly expected to find you at the ball.
I scarcely expected it myself.
I do not see Miss Phoebe with you.
Don't you?
Auntie, why don't you present your old pupil?
Ensign Blades, my niece, Miss Olivia Throstle.
Lieutenant Spicer.
Blake, 50th Hussars. Davis, the 109th.
May I have the honor?
Oh, Auntie, I should so enjoy dancing with an ensign.
How much more than dancing with a lieutenant?
Why don't you 2 old friends play a hand of cribbage?
and we'll go over to make merry, and when we're there, we'll drink round sherry. When together we're so gay.
When together we're so gay.
A boat across the ferry, and when together we're so.
Beautifully done.
Oh, were you not frightened, Ensign Blades?
Frightened, ma'am.
Oh, how brave you are.
Well, we marched on that night, and...
And then, yours?
No,
Mine. Oh. I missed you. On purpose.
you? I missed you.
On purpose? Charming, Lieutenant Spicer. The field is yours, sir. Really? We'll get wet.
Amazingly pretty girl, ma'am. What a shocking flirt.
Laugh.
I suppose it amuses you to see them go down before you. But I know you have a kind heart.
Thank you, sir.
You don't seem to care with whose affections you trifle.
Laugh, sir, why should I care?
I'll tell you why.
I must go home.
In the rain?
Yes, I just remembered. Aunt Phoebe is ill.
Ill? I thought her improved.
No, she's worse.
Not so bad that you must risk your own health.
Oh, yes, indeed, she's desperately ill.
Good heavens. Why wasn't her doctor told? I shall go to her at once.
No.
You stay here.
I hope, Miss Sьюзан, to eventually meet your charming niece.
Yes. It's, unfortunate that you've missed her so often. How wonderful to be as sought after as Miss Livy. Oh, the incomparable Miss Livy.
Ah, the invisible Miss Livy is more like it to be here and yet not to be here. next time Miss Livy will be at home.
Perhaps.
For me, Phoebe. I'm sure our friends suspect. Hurry, my nightgown. He'll be here in a moment. Oh, Phoebe, for my sake, let us send Miss Livy back to her father while there is yet time.
Hurry, Susan, hurry.
Forgo the ball tonight.
I will. I promise I will.
She's upstairs. Miss Livy? Miss Susan? She's Captain Brown.
Tizzy, hurry, Susan, receive him. So terrifying. If they should find out we dare not open school, what a scandal it would be.
We must stop.
Brown is coming to see you, my dear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry to find you no better. Have you the headache?
No,
Have you had the chill?
no.
What do you think causes this weakness?
A fever. A cold. It's Miss Livy.
Miss Livy's visit has turned our lives upside down.
Not only yours, ma'am.
What mean you, sir?
Oh, no matter. I'll have the apothecary send you a tonic. Would you apologize to Miss Livy for my leaving her alone this afternoon?
If what she tells us is the truth, she is invariably well attended. I think she can spare you, sir.
Indeed.
How they spoil her.
I'm afraid they do.
Do you think she is perhaps too brazen?
She's young.
Yes. Yes, she is.
Well, however that may be, I shall be here at 9 to take her to the ball.
But Miss Livy goes not to the ball.
I was not aware there was any change in plan.
Nor is there, Susan. Miss Livy will accompany you, sir.
You're most obedient, ma'am. I hope to find you much improved when I return.
Oh, Valentine Brown, how could you? Phoebe, to weary of Phoebe, patient, ladylike Phoebe, and become enamored in a night of that hurried, forward, flirting, heartless, hateful little toad of a Livy.
But Phoebe, you promised me not to go to the ball.
Miss Livy must go to the ball. There's been a declaration in his eyes all this week, and tonight I mean to bring him to it. And when he cries, adorable Miss Livy, be mine, I intend to answer with a, law, Captain Brown, how ridiculous you are. You're much too old. Ha!
Phoebe, how can you be so cruel?
How do I look?
Please to remember we're not bent on pleasure, Henrietta. Our attendance at the ball is the performance of a duty.
A duty to Quoliti-strit.
Perhaps a good look at the gay Miss Livy will solve this mystery.
But, Mary, do we dare?
We do.
Dear Miss Livy, the moon is so lovely. Will you stroll and let me show you?
Sir. But, ma'am, is not the next dance mine?
Oh, but I'm so fond of the dear moon.
I'll be very pleased to point it out to you.
But, sir, this is unendurable.
May I solicit of you, Miss Livy, is Captain Brown your guardian?
Are you affianced to him?
Oh, sir, you must not ask that of me.
By what right, sir, do you interfere?
By a right which I hope to make clear to Miss Livy as soon as we're alone.
Glory be if it ain't the recruited sergeant.
Bless my soul, can it really be? Now, don't tell me. Now, don't tell me. I'll think of the name in a moment. I know it starts with a P. Yes, now, would it
Do
be...
you know Miss Phoebe?
Phoebe, that's right, Phoebe. Well, how are you? Come on, ça va, ma petite.
I'm not Miss Phoebe. I'm looking for Miss Phoebe, my mistress.
Oh, well, let me tell you this, mon petit chou. You can't go in there without a card, you know.
Then you go on in and tell Miss Phoebe that the Willoughbys are on their way here. They're coming to see Miss Livy, so she better go home at once.
Who, Miss Livy?
No, Miss Phoebe, there ain't no Miss Livy.
Yeah, but you just told me they were coming to see Miss Livy.
They think Miss Livy is Miss Phoebe.
How silly. How could they possibly think that?
Because she is Miss Phoebe.
Who is?
Miss Livy.
Oh.
Here they are, come on.
Betty.
The Willoughbys, Mum, are on the way here.
The Willoughbys?
Yes, Mum.
To see Miss Livy.
Miss Susan.
I feel ill, faint. Ensign blades, cordial, if you please.
Yes, yes, of course.
Miss Livy. There's something I must say to you.
Really? What? Oh, there you are. I feel ill, faint. Captain Brown, a cordial, if you please.
Immediately, ma'am.
Oh, Susan, he was just about to offer.
Phoebe, they're here, they're here.
Who's here?
The Willoughbys and Miss Henrietta.
Good heavens, what are we going to do?
We must leave at once. Where's your cloak?
In the retiring room.
They probably returned indoors.
There they are.
You sure?
Of course, Mary. Here's Livy. It's the cloak and bonnet she wore to the first ball.
How attentive Captain Brown is. Do we dare interrupt him?
We do. I think I've known the young lady long enough to allow myself that liberty.
Phoebe!
Yes, Mary. How do you do?
Your cordial, Miss Sue.
Thanks. Another, if you please.
At once, ma'am. Miss Susan. Thank you. There you are.
Oh, get me one, too.
You, Miss Phoebe?
Yes, Mary, I am Phoebe.
Amazing.
Miss Phoebe, we've done you a cruel wrong.
We'd never really met her. Never seen her together with you.
So we were convinced there was no such person.
And of course we thought it must be you.
I can still see her in the garden.
Oh, you mean, Henrietta? You mean, Mary, that I?
It was wicked of us, I know, but we thought that you and Miss Livy were the same person.
Oh, how could you?
Oh, do forgive us, Phoebe, dear. We could not help suspecting. We beg your pardon.
Oh, Phoebe, you look so pretty. Are they paying you no attentions, my dear?
Alas, no. They think of none but Livy.
And Captain Brown?
He is infatuate with her.
Oh, Phoebe.
Pardon me.
Oh, Captain Brown, you left Miss Livy.
Ah, but ma'am, I returned to her.
That's a mistake, sir. I was just thinking that if I were a gentleman, I should pay my addresses to Miss Phoebe much rather than to her niece.
You embarrass me.
Me also, ma'am. You see, I have something very important to say to Miss Livy.
Oh. In that case, we shan't delay you any further.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Mary. Good evening, Fanny.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Susan, I shall call tomorrow. I do so wish to know Miss Livy better.
Auntie, you remember that Captain Brown said that he had something of importance to say to me?
Oh, indeed. Excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Miss Livy, no doubt these varying flirtations amuse you. Has it never occurred to you that they may hurt others?
Really, sir? Whom?
Oh, the blades and the like may not suffer too much. But one may, perhaps.
Perhaps I may wish to see him squirm.
For shame, Miss Livy. I speak in the interest of the man to whom I hope to see you betrothed.
And who is this happy man?
As to who he is, I have no idea. Nor I'm sure of you, otherwise you'd be more guarded in your conduct. But someday, Miss Livy, the right man will come. And how will you explain away your present behavior? His face would change as you told him of it. And yours would be a false face until it was told.
I see.
You will see when you know what love really is.
Love. What do you know of love?
Oh, I know all about it. I'm in love, Miss Livy.
I wish you happy.
With a lady who was once very much like you.
Not... Oh, no.
Yes, Miss Livy, it's your Aunt Phoebe whom I love.
You really mean Phoebe? Tired, unattractive Phoebe?
Phoebe, who was once more fascinating than you, ma'am. Oh, you bewitched me. You who so resembled her as she was. But it was only for an hour. How like I thought at first, but soon it was how unlike. I remember I once compared her to a garden. I've often thought of that. Honestly, do you think there's any hope for me?
There was a man whom Miss Phoebe loved. But that was long ago. He didn't love her.
Now there was a fool.
It was you. You kissed her once. It was raining and her face was wet. You said you did it because her face was wet.
I'd quite forgotten.
Now I'm laughing at both of you. Phoebe, that old thing.
Miss Livy.
I hate her and despise her. If you knew what she is.
I know what you are.
That garden.
Silence.
Your garden has been destroyed, sir. The weeds have entered it and all the flowers are choked.
What do you mean?
I cannot tell you. It is too horrible.
You're too horrible, isn't that it?
Yes, that's it.
What is too horrible?
Ma'am, I leave the telling of it to her if she dare. And I devoutly hope those are the last words I shall ever address to this lady.
My love, my dear, what terrible thing has he said to you?
Not terrible. Glorious. Susan, 'tis Phoebe he loves, not Livy. He loves me, Phoebe. Susan, he loves me.
Oh, lovely rambler roses, the garden wall atop. Your fragrance rare cannot compare to a frying mutton chop.
For you, my dove.
It may involve a detour, but it's still the best route.
What are you talking about?
The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And to make a personal observation of my own, the way to a man's stomach is through...
Not for you. That's for Miss Susan and Miss Phoebe.
Yeah, but you told me there ain't no Miss Phoebe.
Once and for all. And for the last time, there ain't no Miss Livy.
Good morning, Phoebe, my love. You did not sleep?
Not a wink?
If you have such remorse, you will weep yourself to death.
After what he said to me last night, what else can I do?
We must get rid of Livy. That is certain. When our friends call this afternoon, I'll say that she's returned home.
Yes. Yes.
Good morning, Susan. You will pardon my intrusion so early in the day, but being aware of Miss Livy's extreme popularity, I thought to call on her before she went out.
Oh, poor Livy is ill.
Yes.
Ill? How sudden?
Quite. She was awake all night. Tremblings, flutterings, spasms.
Indeed?
The excitement of the ball.
May I go in and see her?
Pray not.
No, Livy must be almost asleep at last.
That's for Miss Livy.
Lie still, Livy, my love. Lie still.
Breakfast. Breakfast. Miss Livy's breakfast. Yours is getting cold, Mum.
Morning, ladies. I shall be at home all day. Do let me know when Miss Livy is improved enough to receive me.
What's to be done?
She will never let Livy escape.
Phoebe, I feel as if Miss Livy really existed.
We shall never be able to esteem ourselves again.
If he proposes, why not marry him? If we can make him think that she's gone home, he need never know.
Susan, You pain me. She who marries without telling all, hers must ever be a false face. They are his own words. Patty, 'tis Captain Brown. Tell him I'm going home.
Morning, Patty. Is Miss Phoebe in?
No, sir. She's gone out. Into the garden.
Ah. Miss Phoebe.
What is it, sir?
Surely you're not afraid of me.
No. No. Why should I be?
For no reason that I know. Miss Phoebe, you told Miss Livy that you loved me once. You kept it carefully hidden from me.
A woman must never tell, sir. You went to the great battles. I was left to fight in the little one. Women have a flag to fly as well as men, Mr. Brown. And old maids have a flag as well as women. I tried to keep mine flying.
I dare not ask your love, but I do ask you to put yourself in my keeping. Let me take care of you.
It cannot be.
If not for your sake, do it for mine. They say a lady can never quite forget the man who's used her ill. Do it for me, because I used you ill.
Please to say no more.
Good morning, Patty.
Well, where's Miss Mary? She has not been to see us for 5 minutes.
How do you do, sir? And how do you find Miss Livy today, sir?
I haven't seen her, ma'am.
Indeed? Well, surely, Phoebe, when she's ill, there's double reason for it.
Ill? I hadn't heard. Ladies, have pity on a dull male and explain.
I understand, sir, that there is a belief that I keep Miss Livy in confinement because of your passion for her.
My passion for Miss Livy? Why, I can't abide her, nor she me. Furthermore, I'm proud to tell you that this is the lady I love.
What? Phoebe?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Phoebe. I'm so happy it's you.
Oh, Phoebe, dear, I wish you joy. And you also, sir. But, Susan, really, I don't understand.
Is it that Miss Livy is an obstacle?
Miss Livy, an obstacle? Is there some mystery about the young lady?
So much so, sir, that we at one time thought that she and Miss Phoebe were the same person.
We've never even seen her face.
Indeed.
How do you find yourself, dear Miss Livy?
If you must know, ladies, she finds herself too ill to see visitors. Too ill to see anyone.
In that case, Patty, I think she should see a physician.
Is she very poorly, sir? We did not hear you address her.
She's not awake, ma'am. It's not a very serious illness, I think. We mustn't talk lest we disturb her. In fact, I think you'd all better go.
Patty, have they gone yet?
No, Susan, but we are going.
Miss Phoebe, I desire to see Miss Livy.
Impossible.
Why impossible? They tell me strange tales of no one seeing her. Go at once and tell Miss Livy that I must see her.
Yes, sir.
Patty? Oh, how do you do, sir? Well, it certainly
Good morning,
is a pleasure to see you.
At ease. Patty, why is this trick being played upon me?
Upon you too, sir? Well, I never.
At ease, Sergeant. Explain, Patty.
I don't know what you mean, sir.
Patty, I know there's no Miss Livy. That Miss Phoebe has been impersonating her.
And if she has,
Why has she done this?
it's all your fault, sir.
My fault.
It was you who started it, all by not knowing her when you first returned.
Indeed.
Everything's your fault, sir. And it's time you knew it.
Tell me, Patty, why don't they say Miss Livy's gone home? It would save them a world of trouble.
The Willoughbys watch the house all the time. They would say she cannot have gone, for we have not seen her go.
I see.
Miss Livy has greatly improved, sir, and has consented to come in to see you.
Your servant, Miss Livy.
How do you do, sir?
And isn't Miss Phoebe to join us?
She's
She's taking the opportunity of airing the room.
Ah, of course.
Captain Brown will excuse you, Phoebe.
Certainly, Miss Susan. Allow me. She'll recover. In fact, ma'am, I think I could cure Miss Livy if she's put unreservedly in my hands.
I'm sure you could.
Then you're my patient, Miss Livy.
Oh,
Home's the place for you.
Yes. Would that I could go there.
You are going.
Yes, soon, sir.
Indeed, I have a delightful surprise for you, Miss Livy. You're going today.
Today?
Not merely today, but now. Come, Miss Susan, some wraps for her.
Oh, sir, I decline to
Come,
go.
Miss Livy, you're in my hands.
But, sir...
We mustn't humor her, Miss Susan. The wraps.
Auntie, don't leave me.
What a difficult patient it is. Will you reason with her, Miss Susan? I shall ask Miss Phoebe for some wraps.
Well, how do you do, Miss Phoebe?
Livy.
I think these will do admirably, Miss Susan.
Phoebe.
She's still busy airing the room. Come along, Sergeant. Patty, get your cloak and bonnet. We're taking Miss Livy home.
Yes.
Ah, Miss Livy. Allow me to put these round you. Take hold here, Sergeant, will you?
Yes, sir. Yeah. May I ask, sir, where she is?
Here.
Then, sir, might I ask, who is she?
Miss Livy, Sergeant. Thank you.
Oh, how do you do, ma'am?
Now, Sergeant, will you take care of that left elbow?
The left elbow. Oh, yes, sir, yes.
Now, come along, Miss Livy. Don't be afraid. Our arms are around you. There, be brave. Goodbye, Miss Susan. We'll take every care of her. Gently, Sergeant. Gently.
Yes, sir.
Susan, has he gone?
Phoebe, he knows all.
Yes, I know he does. But what did he say?
It was what he did. He took Livy with him.
Susan, you mustn't say that. You're not distraught, are you?
He did. He wrapped her up in a cloak.
Susan, you're Susan Trossel. You remember me, don't you? Phoebe, your sister? I was Livy also.
He took Livy with him.
Oh, heavens. Now, Susan, who am I?
Well, Phoebe.
And who was Livy?
You were.
Oh, thank heaven.
But he took Livy with him. Look, she's leaving.
We shall see. We shall see.
Drive into the country.
Where, sir?
Anywhere. Bury Miss Livy in a lonely spot and don't return before sundown.
Sundown? But, sir... Sundown.
Whip up the horses. Off with him. Ladies, you've arrived just too late to bid Miss Livy farewell.
Miss Livy?
I've sent her home.
'Tis a good riddance.
Mary.
Edison Grace, if you've come to see Miss Livy, you're too late. She's gone home.
But my flowers, my bonbons.
I'm sure these excellent ladies are far more deserving of them. Miss Susan, I brought you some firewood.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Phoebe.
Yes, sir.
It isn't raining, but your face is wet. I wish always to kiss you when your face is wet.
Susan.
Dearest Phoebe Throstle, will you be Phoebe Brown?
You know everything, sir? And that I am not a garden?
I know everything. Except that.
Sir, the dictates of my heart enjoin me to accept your too flattering offer. Oh, sir, Susan also.